be on the kickoff return. Out to the 30-yard line. And so, if you're just joining us, Aiden O'Connell, the training staff was looking at his hand following the last drive. He was gone back into the locker room. We certainly don't know the extent of the injury. But what that means for this 6th-round pick out of North Dakota State is this might be opening up an opportunity that he may have to be the backup.
Yeah, more reps, more opportunities, a great opportunity for Cam to get some reps. Great opportunity for his coaching staff and his organization to take a look at their young quarterback.
Mostert with a hard run. That's a good-looking carry by the veteran, Raheem Mostert, the 33-year-old, for 9 yards.
I love that downfield and protect the football in the air, Rich. Both hands on the ball. That's a vet for you. A lot of guys come through and they kind of keep that ball loose, but I love the finish and protect the ball.
He's got what I would refer to as rare and unusual straight line speed. Raheem Mostert can still separate.
Play clock was drifting down. There's also a delay with the chains at this moment. Now remember, this year it's the Hawkeye technology. The chains are the backup, but at the moment, if you look at the running back experience, the room, we don't know which of those guys will be part of the roster come Tuesday. But the chains are the backup. So when they fall down and a link breaks, still have to fix them. Mostert tucks it again. He's got a first down, bounced off one, and into the secondary, and Mostert picks up 9 more. And he bounced around early. He started his career as an undrafted free agent. He was with Chip Kelly in Philadelphia. They reunited in San Francisco, so they've got a history in the NFL together too.
That terrific quickness, straight line speed we talked about. He's been around the block, right? He's been on 8 different teams. In a lot of different systems, as you said. He spent some time with Chip in San Francisco as well as Philadelphia.
There's 55 yards on the ground. Jeffy had a couple of carries. Zamir White, 7 for 28. Back in the game, Cam Miller's going to throw. He dumps it short. White caught it. Cody Simon, the rookie out of Ohio State, right on his back. Now, that was the question about Zamir White coming out of Georgia. He wasn't asked to catch the ball a ton. He talked last offseason about developing that part of his game. He did have 6 catches, not a ton last year. He also had the injury.
Talk about being a complete player at that position. It's not just running the ball. It's catching the ball in the backfield. It's protection. It's understanding protections. It's an area where he has improved the last couple seasons.
Miller on the rollout, decided to keep it. He was in trouble and he sacked. And Xavier Thomas has a sack. He had a fumble recovery earlier. That'll be 3rd down and long for the Raiders.
So the one thing Cam Miller has to learn is we don't take sacks on boots and makers. Just throw the ball away to the flat, right?
I would always hear in a quarterback room is that when you come out of that play fake, always expect the defender's going to be in your face, and always expect and have a plan. He comes out of that fake, and what's the first thing you see? He's like, "Oh, you guys in my face. Well, you got to have a plan."
I know where the quick answer throw is. You're right, Kurt.
Aiden O'Connell is back on the sideline. He will show you his hand after this play. Cam Miller's back as he's throwing into tight coverage, and it's over the head of Jack Besh. So it will be 4th down. So Aiden O'Connell, you can't see it there. It is his right hand. He came back out. Everyone's coming over to talk to him. And we'll see it fast. And again, remember last year, he did fracture his thumb on his throwing hand middle part of the season. So certainly that is going to be a big storyline for the Raiders coming out of this ballgame, depending on the extent of that injury for Aiden O'Connell.
It's not what you want to see. Scoring of plays, but you want to make sure you're executing, you're seeing the field, and you're just operating the system. You just want to see a clean performance from him the rest of the way.
For last week against the Niners, he did get the ball back with a chance to take the Raiders down the field and win. Big interception. The Niners kicked the game-winning field goal from 59 yards out as time expired.
The one thing I'll say about Cam is that it's not too big for him. I really believe. I really enjoyed our conversation we had with him a couple of weeks ago. I think he's poised. I think you mentioned, Jason, the experience that this kid had in college, played in a lot of games, 56 starts, played in 67 games, played 2 national championship games at the FCS level. like anybody. It's reps. You just try and get him some reps, get him comfortable. Just try and find a rhythm for him. Big third down.
Has to come back with a false start.
False start. Offense number 76 after 5-yard penalty. Third down.
But and the other part to all this too is the reality of the NFL is you are always one play away from whatever that next step is.
Correct.
Right, and we don't know the extent of Aiden O'Connell's injury. He is on the sideline with what looked like a soft cast of some sort on his throwing hand.
So you got to be ready.
That's right.
Rich, you've talked about it. These reps are valuable. This is a 4-minute now offense. I'll get the 2-minute. These are valuable reps for Cam Miller because he may have a bigger role now going into the season.
2-minute warning. Raiders backed up at their own 5-yard line. The 3rd and 12 coming up. Charles Grant, the 2 third-round picks on the offensive line. Will Putnam in his 2nd year out of Clemson. And Thayer Mumford, you know, it's we talk about Thayer Mumford like he's a wily veteran. He's only in his 4th year. Dante Thornton has been in from the get-go. He does have a touchdown. They are going to run it, though. And Raheem Mostert's chopped down at the 9-yard line, so it'll be 4th down and long, and the Raiders will punt it away. You got a rookie in Cam Miller. You got an opportunity here, 1:15 to go.
A chance for the coaching staff. It's a chance for Pete Carroll, for offensive coordinator Chip Kelly to learn more about this young quarterback. How does he handle a 2-minute situation before the half?
Chip Kelly in the booth right next to us. Joe filled in on his right, the left of your screen. Inside to keep it on the ground with Zamir White. Jonathan Gannon takes a timeout. He wants to get the ball back for the Cardinals one more time, so he takes his 2nd timeout of the half.
Well, I think he wants to force a passing play. He wants to force to see Cam Miller make an opportunity to throw backed up. Rich, what's the mindset for you when you're this far backed up, knowing, hey, I can't take a sack for sure, but more importantly, I'm near my own end zone. How do I get out of this hole?
Well, first and foremost, we're talking about protecting the football and making good decisions. We can't have a negative play here. We can't have a sack, a fumble, a penalty, some type of turnover. Look, in my back pocket, I do know this. I've got A.J. Cole. I've got a guy that can kick the ball 60 yards and dramatically change field position. I got to be smart in this situation. I want to make a 1st down, then maybe start to use some of those timeouts. I've also got a great kicker.
Keep it on the ground. Nice cut back. Zamir White's got a 1st down. Solid, hard run. They'll spot him at the 17. So it's 9 for Zamir White. They move the chains inside of a minute. Pete Carroll is not taking his 1st of 3 timeouts.
Just wants the center and the guard open this hole up here. Nice cut back by Zamir White.
That's great vision. You know, so many guys just run to the back of the offensive line, but the vision and quickness of feet to get all the way to that backside, that's a tremendous job there by Zamir White.
Love when you have linemen downfield finishing off the run.
Haven't let Cam Miller throw it since he got backed up. They still will not. Raheem Mostert with the stiff arm. He's chopped down after about a yard or 2. Keitrell Clark, nickel corner, came up to make the stop. The Raiders do not have to snap it again.
I think they're just going to run it out and go in at half and get a play sheet and get some things dialed up for Cam Miller to come back here in the 2nd half and cut it loose. Yeah, I think it's a certain play style that's going to be important. I think the emphasis in the off-season program was improving on the running game. And I think last year, obviously, it was a big problem. The Raiders finished dead last in rushing. You go out draft Raheem. You go out draft Ashton Jenkins. You sign Raheem with an emphasis on being a more physical downhill rushing team.
Tommy Millott on the kick return out to the 32-yard line. We'll see what they, put him on the field a lot more here in the set. We haven't seen a ton of Tommy Millott here in the preseason.
Well, outside of his punt, he's the up back on the punt team.
Yeah, return.
Yeah, so we'll see if he can carve out a role here within this team in terms of special teams and maybe on offense. But a big 2nd half for a lot of these guys who are called bubble guys, Rich. Guys who are on the bubble of making this roster. Can they make some plays here in the 2nd half?
He played a lot of football in college, 41 starts at Montana State.
Cam Miller only threw it 2 times in the 1st half. He's got Jack Pesh out across the 40. stood up Michael Walker makes the tackle about 9 yards for Jack Besh, the second-round pick, number 58 overall, out of TCU. Besh, who started his career at LSU before his final 2 seasons in Fort Worth. He was an all Big 12 performer, and he was a big play threat, almost 17 yards per catch last year.
Yeah, sometimes I laugh when I hear that at LSU, and it was like, yeah, Besh probably wasn't going to play with guys like Jamar Chase and Neighbors and Thomas Jr. They're loaded at wide receiver. He goes to TCU, now gets himself in the National Football League.
First catch for Sincere McCormick. He's slammed down, but he does it the first. Now, in all fairness to Jack Besh, though, his freshman year, he did have more catches than Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas did.
Yeah, but eventually the cream rises to the top, and sometimes as a player, you realize, like, I might need to find somewhere else to go, and all it did was help him develop, and I think it's the same thing here with this offense. I expected him to have much of a bigger role to start the preseason in training camp, but instead he's kind of had to work his way into the rotation.
And a false start coming.
Well, he led TCU with 62 receptions, over 1,000 yards and 9 touchdowns. It was a Senior Bowl MVP last year.
Offense, number 60. 5-yard penalty. Remains first down.
That was very dependable and consistent.
You know, sometimes everybody's always trying to find, Rich, there's a comparison. Who does he play like? You know, who does he play like? Give me something that he reminds me of. And I was talking to you guys about it earlier because Anquan Bolden, who was drafted here to the Arizona Cardinals, reminds me that's what Jack Besh is. He's a guy that probably is not a blazer, can run right by you, but can make the physical, tough catches and be an animal in the run game.
Solid run, Sincere McCormick, and, you know, that was a high snap that Cam Miller had to pull down, which, Kirk, you and I were talking about. You were showing me film yesterday. We were talking about stats and the timing, but Sincere McCormick still muscled his way for about 8 yards.
Yeah, it's all about timing. Rich, what happens when you get a high snap?
You just got to field it. You got to make sure you get the exchange point to the back, keep him on his path.
And keep him on his path.
It's not always going to be perfect.
That's the word that I was thinking of, Jason. It's keeping the running back on its path. Just a high snap can throw the timing off on a run play.
Miller, a straight drop, pressure for jump step. His eyes are still downfield. That's not a negative play. He did get about back to the original line of scrimmage. So it'll be 3rd down and long. He did take a sack in the first half.
Yeah, the pressure up the field here. Does a nice job stepping up, keeping the ball in the throwing position.
Live to get to another down. That's what quarterback coaches preach. Just get me to the next down. There was some good guys on the opposite side on defense, but can you get me to the next down when the play breaks down?
To the outside, Colin Johnson. It's in the air, and it hits the turf. Michael Walker couldn't get there. Keitrell Clark in coverage, and that was high in the air and hung around for a while.
That was dangerous. Clark was driving on that one, so was Walker.
The roster will take shape and finalize, at least for the start of it, coming up Tuesday, 1 p.m. local, 4 Eastern. We know Brock Bowers will be part of that 53. We expect to talk to Brock coming up later in the 3rd quarter. But Jacoby Myers, Dante Thornton, Trey Tucker, Jack Besh. But who else will be part of that wide receiver room come Tuesday? And we don't know.
I mean, look at all these names. I mean, Colin Johnson, they just signed Marquez Callaway a couple of days ago. Alex Bachman has had a really strong camp. I mean, Tommy Millard is also a draft pick, but he's a guy who's converting from the quarterback spot to the wide receiver spot. Does he earn a roster spot? I mean, outside of what we think is the top 3 to 4, it's going to be tough.
The young group.
Out, yeah, who's that last part of this wide receiver group, and how many do you keep?
Cam Miller to the air on first down. He takes a shot. Philip Dorsett can't run under it. He dropped that in the bucket. Tight coverage for Arizona by Elijah Jones. But a nice ball from Cam Miller.
Really nice ball. Gave a chance.
Yeah, I think Philip Dorsett should have had this one. I think it touched his hands.
I think Jones gets his hand in there the very last second. Watch that right hand right there. He pulls that. Yep. He's tugging at Dorsett's left elbow.
Back to the ground. Sincere McCormick is wrapped up. Michael Walker, veteran for one of the Falcons, spent a little bit of time on the Raiders practice squad a couple of years ago. Now be 3rd down. Well, I think we expected this tonight, too. Pete Carroll said he wanted to get a good look at the running backs, wanted to give them a lot of opportunities. 23 rushes tonight for the Raiders, only 14 dropbacks. You can expect that in the third preseason game anyway. Raiders tonight, 3 of 7 on third down. They need to get to the 45. Miller with time, another shot. Dorsett again. This time Dorsett has to play defender. He knocked it away from Elijah Jones, and it'll be 4th down.
Nice job by Dorsett knocking this one away. This was not the best decision by Cam Miller.
Yeah, I think if you have chemistry with the receiver, it can kind of help you out, because I think this was well covered by the Cardinals. And Cam Miller, you got to throw that ball back shoulder.
Yeah, nice job by Dorsett. Watch him break this up.
Yeah.
Make sure they don't catch it. I go back to that first production meeting we had with Chip Kelly. He talked about, he said, you throw to score points, but you run it to win.
Yes, you did.
And I think that really sets the tone for your entire football team and how they're going to go about, what this offense is going to look like. You got a quarterback that can rip it. I mean, you got a quarterback that can throw the ball in the move, but you got to be able to control the line of scrimmage and kind of beat people up with your running game. That's why you went out and got Ashton Genty. Big throw, good throw.
Nice catch, Colin Johnson in tight space with Elijah Jones. That's a good catch for a 1st down.
Yeah, it's a big play catch by Colin Johnson. We've seen him throughout training camp do this. Big number 17, 6'5", 220 in his 5th year out of Texas.
All right, Chip, let's get this young quarterback going. Cam's only thrown it 8 times. Come on, give him a chance. Let him rip it.
Hands it off to Dylan Lowry, who was brought down by Jalen Jones. I'm down for Arizona after making the tackle.
Sorry, Jason. I'm loving some of the movement up front. I'm watching this, the interior of that offensive line, and doing a good job with the point of attack with some double teams, doing a good job getting up on the 2nd level, getting some body on those linebackers.
But I always love about Dylan Lowry. See how he runs behind his pads? He gets through the hole. It's like a little ping pong ball that just boom, 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 boom. He's all over the place. And those are the kind of guys that you like, especially if he's going to go into the game late. I mean, this is probably looking at your 3rd, 4th running back possibly. It's going to give you something on special teams, but it's an opportunity to make plays when needed.
He's really good. He's a good returner, but where he's been terrific is covering kicks. Punts and kicks, he's been terrific.
Dylan Lowry, you mentioned the special teams play, but this was in Seattle. He bounced off the big run, and then had the opportunity to make a grab out of the backfield. That was the drive to start the 3rd quarter. And here's special teams, Rich, that you were talking about.
And listen, this is how he's going to make the team. I think he's got an enthusiasm for that role. I mean, to be able to run down there and break up a wedge and to cover punts and kicks. I always say the more you can do, and if you're not going to be a starter in this league, you're going to have a significant role in the kicking game.
And this is a guy, his final 2 years at New Hampshire led the FCS level in all-purpose yards, which means he did it in returns, but also out of the backfield catching and running the ball.
And I think this is what happens with a lot of those running backs who don't come out near their first round picks or 2nd round picks. They have to find their ways through special teams. And each year you continue to develop, and at some point, like, hey, we got to play this kid. I think the same thing with Raheem Mostert, right? We were talking about him a little bit earlier. He wasn't a 1st round guy,
he was an undrafted free agent.
And how did he do it? Special team, returning kicks, returning punts. And after a while, you start to develop, and you got to put him on there.
And there's Tom McMahon, the special teams coordinator. When you talk about these decisions that this organization has to make, it's not just the coordinators and Pete, it's the special teams coordinator.
That guy right
there. The offensive defense coordinator. This guy coaches the entire football team.
Yeah, but Tom McMahon is everybody's best friend this week. I know that, right?
That's it. Coach, I'll cover kicks.
Coach, what you need me to do, Coach? Let me get an extra rep on kickoff.
That's a tough job. It's not an easy job.
He didn't go down on the first contact.
He has his core players in the kicking game. The guys that are blocking on punts and kicks, and the guys that are covering, and the gunners, and obviously the specialists. But that is an important group. Yeah. I always learned that every play in the kicking game is the most important play in the game because it equates to field position of points.
haven't seen Cam use his feet to pick up a first yet.
It's 3rd and 3. There's a short drop. Just outside of the outstretched arms of Carter Runyon. That'll be 4th down.
Well, they didn't call that one, huh? He had that jersey pulled all the way from I saw that all the way up here in the booth. I think Cam Miller saw it as well. He was pulling jersey, restricting Runyon from making the catch.
10 yards past the goal line.
That's like hitting like a sandwich from about 100 yards, like 20 yards over the green. I just don't get it. I really don't.
I mean,
You know, Daniel
and I
Carlson,
haven't played golf
Daniel
together,
Carlson, I've watched him in warm-ups. We've watched him. He's very good at changing some pace and be able to drop the kick into certain areas and to be able to, I think, his targeted kicking, directional kicking, something that Coach McMahon and the special teams group have worked on throughout preseason.
I mean, that's the one group that you don't have to worry about.
Oh,
Right? Think about it. Your kicker and your punter. We don't have to worry about it.
By the way, Carlson also does not put his sandwich 20 yards over the green. He and A.J. Cole, they're inseparable. Cam Miller dumps it short. Laubie's got to try to break a tackle, and he can't. Which will bring us to the end of the 3rd quarter. 15 minutes left. Pete Carroll and company will try and earn their first win of the preseason. You're watching Las Vegas Raiders football, presented by Credit One Bank, the official credit card of the Las Vegas Raiders. In New England, Jason Horowitz, Rich Gannon, Kirk Morrison back with you upstairs here in State Farm Stadium. And as we start the 4th quarter, we welcome in Landon Roberts, E-Rob, as he has told us consistently throughout the preseason. E-Rob, thanks for joining us, man. Hey, you've been part of teams early in your career where you were fighting to make rosters. Now you're part of a team where you're starting and you're a veteran. How is this training camp, how has this preseason gone for you as you guys are trying to gel?
Everything's going real good. I think as a team, we done gel pretty good, man. Every day, you know, you guys hit a motto, man. We come in, we compete. Keep on that day in and day out, man. I feel like offensively, man, we gelling real good. Defensively, we coming together, gelling real good. And special team, you know, that's a huge factor of the game. You know, I think on that side of the ball, we're doing a great job also. So all 3 phases really gelling the way we should be at this time.
E-Rob, this isn't your first rodeo. You've been around the block, my friend. You spent time in New England and Miami last couple seasons with the Pittsburgh Steelers. You talk about this excitement. Talk about what Pete Carroll, why he has you and the rest of your teammates so excited about the 2025 season.
Obviously, man, you know, Pete been in this game a long time, you know, and what really just grabs me the knowledge and just him. Every day he talk about situational football, and situational football, man. Every NFL game, all games, every Sunday come down to some type of situations, and you know, Pete just have us over just dialed into that day in and day out, and you know, with a competition mindset on it and just getting better each day, man. He's doing a great job with that, and I think, you know, just, you know, I know we're young, but the veterans that is here, man, we got some great leadership in the locker room, man, and we just taking the foundation that Pete land, man, and going full speed with it, man. And I think, you know, this since OTAs, we've been gelling together real good, man. I think Pete been doing a great job leading the way.
E-Rob, tell me about this leadership, though. The kind of leader that you are. You've been to, like you mentioned, different stops, right? Pittsburgh, Miami, New England. Describe your leadership style right now with this team, with some other alphas who are also leaders on some other teams as well.
Man, one thing about myself is it's been great because the beginning of my career, man, I was a follower. And before you know how to lead, you got to know how to follow. You know, behind the Dante Hightower, Jamie Collins, the Devin McCourty's, the Jerome Formans of the world, and you know, and stuff like that. And then obviously I got to Miami, you know, young team, so was able to just, you know, take what I knew from them guys and do it. And then obviously in Pittsburgh, just Cam Haywood, T.J. Watt was able to become a follower again, but at the same time being able to lead in my own way and stuff like that. And coming over to this team, and you have Max Crosby, you got Gino, you got Devin White, you got Jamal Adams, you know.
We were talking a little bit during the break about the practice squad. We're so focused on this 53-man roster. You know, it's going to be really important to them in terms of how they, the side, and he says we want to keep as many of the players that we've had in our training camp with us because they do such a great job teaching and developing. And you guys know, could be in October somebody gets elevated from the practice squad. It could be next year. It's an important part of your football team, that practice squad.
I definitely agree with that, Rich. And the reason why I agree with it is because you've seen so many players who need a year or two just for the game to slow down, right? You look at some of the, like I talked about Charles Snowden. He's a guy who played on the practice squads for a couple of years and finally, for different teams, and he finally gets to the Raiders and he finds a home. Same thing with Caillou Blue Kelly. I know he's not playing today on the defensive side, but here's a guy who may be starting for the Raiders at cornerback, but he's needed a couple of years on the practice squad to really understand the speed of the game in the NFL.
And we've got some players that change their positions, right? That played quarterback in college or wide receiver and trying to learn a new position. And
trying to go some up-tempo here for Cam Miller, too. This Colley with another opportunity to carry the football. Patrick Jenkins on the tackle there for the Cardinals.
But I think another thing, too, is as much as we talk about the practice squad as well, we've talked about the beginning or the whole entire schedule for the Raiders, but to me, the early part of the season is really going to be important because I think the buy-in is there.
Almost picked off. Darren Hall got in front of the tight end, Albert Okwuegbunam, to make the near pick.
Yeah, it's a San Diego State guy, Darren Hall, so I'm not surprised by that, but he's got to make the play.
Just a little bit late. We've seen a couple of these out-breaking routes where Cam Miller has been a little bit late. You have to be early when you're thrown to the boundary.
Jumps up into the pocket, Tommy Millott on the receiving end, right across midfield. So it'll be 4th down and about 4. And the Raiders will have to snap it before the 2-minute warning. They're going fast anyway, but they're going to go for it here on 4th and 5. Throws the slant. Callaway can't come away with the catch. And the Raiders turn it over on down. 8 of 15 tonight for Cam Miller. Hasn't really had a chance to let it rip. Can't take a sack. Gets out of there. He gets the ball away, and it's caught. Carter Runyon breaks that first tackle. Got the first down, and he steps out of bounds to stop the clock.
Good play to start the drive. Avoided the sack, avoided the rush. Kept his eyes up. Ball in the throwing position. Nice job kicking it out. Tight end.
Yeah, nice drive starter. He gets up the field, realizes the rush is there, but he steps up. I love thinking one thing about Cam Miller. He never goes backwards. He's always stepping up in the pocket, keeping his eyes downfield.
Spins away from the sack. His eyes are downfield. Tough throw down the sideline. It's incomplete. Kendrick Jackson Jr., the intended receiver.
See how much he didn't learn from last week. You remember he took some sacks, late.
27 left to go. 3rd down and about 2 coming up here for the Raiders. Cam Miller kind of burst onto the scene in Seattle. He came in on the 4th quarter, had the 41-yard touchdown pass to Shedrick Jackson, 6 of 7 in his first start. People are like, hey, the 6th-round pick, who is he? Now getting a fuller look tonight. Over the middle. Ooh, tight coverage.
Let's see out in front of those crossers. He doesn't feel the backside linebacker. It's interesting. You talk with Cam Miller, and he took all the reps in college. He played all the games. Got to feel this backside backer. Your eyes get locked in on this crossing route. You don't feel that backside backer. You feel that backside backer is watching the eyes of the quarterback the entire way. But he said, you get all the reps in college and in the NFL. It's all mental reps, no physical reps. Hard to learn that way.
4th and 2, he picks up the first down with his legs.
He's got to watch Geno Smith and Aiden O'Connell take all the reps in training camp, and it's a hard way to learn.
And really, he's only had how many practices in pads? You know, the offseason, you get to the OTAs, and it's just helmets, and then you get into training camp, you have the ramp-up period, or the acclimation period, I should say. So he's really only been in pads for a couple of weeks. See, the reps just haven't been there.
Oops. Alberto on the crossing route. He's upended at the 36-yard line. Stephon Gilmore's younger brother made the tackle. Stephon Gilmore, the former NFL Defensive Player of the Year, off his back foot and not on the same page. Marquez Callaway wouldn't have caught that even if they were on the same page. It was 5 yards into the bench. So it's third down at 5.
If he was 6'10", he would have caught that ball.
It's kind of like the end of preseason with a touchdown drive. Is that a good omen for the regular season?
It's all about competing to the end. You compete until there's no time left.
Oops. He rolled it down and he's sacked. Xavier Thomas has had a night for the Cardinals. His second sack. He's had a fumble recovery as well.
Yeah,
and now it's 4th and 11.
Good-looking football player. He's had some quality rushes tonight. This time makes one count with the sack on Cam Miller.
Here they come with a blitz again. He reads it. And that is caught. Okwuegbunam came away with the grab with a man on his back as well. That's a heck of a catch.
Well, that's a throw, too. Bearing down. Just staring at
Pass interference.
Albert O.
Defense, number 26. That penalty decline. Results of the play. First down.
Okwuegbunam, who's got someone draped all over him, but to stand in that pocket, knowing you're going to get hit, knowing you've got to deliver it, that's a nice job of showing some guts right there by the quarterback, Cam Miller.
Previous was under review.
I've had a little assistance here from replay assists.
I think he catches that.
Yeah, he catches that one. Look at that. He knows he's going to get hit. Braces for it. It's a nice ball.
Remember, we're inside of 2 minutes, so all those replays from upstairs.
After review, the pass is incomplete. However, there was pass interference on the defense. That penalty is accepted. Result of the play is a first down.
The officials must be getting different camera angles than we're getting. Honestly.
I said the same thing.
Huh?
I told you. They have to be getting the
Well,
difference.
I'm sure they got a couple more. Because from that angle, you couldn't even see. You couldn't see whether he trapped it. Penalty anyway. Would have been a first down.
Yeah, but you take away the catch and the throw.
Them yards.
That's the yards.
Stats.
You love that garbage time stats.
Hey, man. Fantasy football people love these time of a game.
There isn't preseason fantasy football, is there?
No, there's not, but you're starting to see who you can steal on waivers. Trust me, we're always scouting.
Clock is stopped with 24 seconds. Down the middle, Cedric Jackson got free. Down to the 25-yard line, 29 yards. They're racing up to try and spike the football for maybe one more play. Well, two of the most explosive plays this preseason have been delivered by Bo Jackson's great nephew.
Yeah, he had the double move in Seattle for the touchdown throw from Cam Miller, and this one is a nice, pretty throw right over the middle of the field. He's kind of staring him down, but I just love where he's going with it. In between the numbers and the hash marks, and right up the seam is Jackson.
Big target.
6 seconds left. See if they can put this in the end zone to end the preseason. Miller feels the pressure. Eyes towards the end zone. Cedric Jackson can't haul it in.